Hello, welcome to Today in History. It's the 14th of August. Let's get cracking. In our usual tradition, we'll roll back the blind to the year 1880. This edifice is called the Cologne Cathedral. It was finally completed 632 years after the foundation stone was laid in 1248. So, when do you think it was completed? 632 plus 1248 would bring us to the year 1880. So, on this day in 1880, Cologne Cathedral, Europe's largest Gothic church, Northern Europe's largest Gothic church, was completed. Let's move on to the year 1947, and we are in the nation of Pakistan. Pakistan celebrates its independence today. They were a former British colony, as you may well know, and this was the period or the season when there was a wave sweeping across the world. I think it started from Asia and then moved on to Africa. So former colonies were beginning to realize that, they could self-govern themselves. A lot of the people became educated in Western schools, Western universities, and acquired that Western mentality, the Western way of thinking and doing things, and decided, they're going to take their future into their own hands, which is a good thing. No one wants to be dominated by someone from outside. So, congratulations, Pakistan. Happy Independence Day to my Pakistani brothers and sisters. Wish you all the best today and for the future. We move on to the year 1959. On this day, this legend, Magic Johnson, was born. As you can see, he's a basketballer, and he led the National Basketball Association, or the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers, to 5 championships. He's an awesome player, Magic Johnson. I know several years ago actually, probably 20 years or more, and he was diagnosed with HIV. I don't know if he developed full-blown AIDS, but Magic Johnson is still alive today, still alive and well, to the best of my knowledge. He's fought the disease or kept the disease at bay. I don't know if he's completely healed from the disease. I don't know if anyone gets completely healed or just manages the disease. But yeah, that's Magic Johnson for you. Very talented basketball player, one of the greatest basketball players who's ever lived. And was born on this day again in 1959. So happy birthday, Magic Johnson. His real name, by the way, is Earvin Johnson Jr. Earvin Johnson Jr. is his real name. Okie dokie, let's move on to the year 1966. Halle Berry. The beautiful, the gorgeous Halle Berry. She is from the United States. Very, very famous actress. Happy birthday. She was born on this day in 1966, so she's 54 today. She's from Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States of America. What do you think? Do you think she looks 54 in this picture? Obviously, this was taken probably a few years ago, but certainly her current picture today, she does look much younger than her age. Okay, we move on to the year 2016, so just 4 years ago, and this guy, Usain Bolt, his signature pose. On this day in 2016, Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt won the 100 meters at the Rio de Janeiro Games, becoming the first person to win the event in 3 consecutive Olympics. Wow, that is a feat. So 3 consecutive Olympics will be 12 years from the first to the last, if my calculation is right. So the Olympics takes place every 4 years. So first Olympics, let's assume that was 2004, I participated in. Okay, let's go by the script, if you like. Okay, so it said that he won this in 2016. So he became the first person to win the event in 3 consecutive Olympics. So the previous Olympics would have been 2012, and the one before that would have been 2008. Okay, so 8 years apart, not 6. Did I say 16 or 12 years? I think I said 12. So 8 years apart. So 2016, 2012, 2008. That was a great feat, that someone could keep himself fit for so long in tip-top shape to win the same event on 3 consecutive Olympics, spaced 8 years apart. That's awesome. So that was what happened on this day, and he became the first person to win the event in 3 consecutive Olympics. He later claimed an unprecedented 3rd straight gold in the 200 meters. So 3 straight gold in the 200 meters, 3 in the 100 meters, the first person to win the event in 3 consecutive Olympics. Usain Bolt for you. Last but not least, this comes a lot closer to home, and he shall be revealed very shortly. His name is Dr. Samuel Benedict Sodienye Afiesimama. So this is my dad, who sadly passed on the 2nd of August 2017. So he would have been 86 today. So a little bit about my dad. He was a medical doctor. He studied in 4 different countries: the United Kingdom, the United States, West Germany as it was then called, and Nigeria. So these were the countries that he studied in, where his formative years were spent. Probably half of those years he spent studying medicine. Qualified to become a medical doctor in the late 60s, and got married, had kids, me being the first. He lived a good life, he was good to a lot of people. He raised the health standards of his state, Rivers State, and his country as a whole, Nigeria, and of course the African continent as a whole. He was a consummate professional. He was strict. He was never late, which is a big problem on the African continent today. We have what's called African time. He was never one of those people who succumbed to that way of thinking and doing things. If something was to start at 3 o'clock, he was there at 5 to 3, even right to 6 months before he died. Sometimes he made me look silly, because if we were going for an event, he would get there before me, he would get there before me. I would arrive on time by so-called African time, but he taught me a lot about discipline, a lot about life, a lot about being a man or woman of your word. We just came off a Zoom call today to obviously celebrate his life. My siblings, my mom, cousins, uncles, aunts, close family friends. There were, I think at the peak of the meetings, 25 of us spread out all over the world, from the United States, from Canada, from the United Kingdom, from Kuwait, from the United Arab Emirates, from Nigeria. So from Sierra Leone, not to forget Sierra Leone. So this was the sort of man he was. He drew people to himself. So it's no surprise that we're celebrating him today, and everyone had something nice to say about him. He was a very thoughtful man. Even though he was strict, he was straightforward, he was very thoughtful. A lot of people use the word perfect to describe my dad, and that was really touching. No one is perfect, no one's perfect. But my dad was not far off. I must confess, he was not far off. You know, my sister's husband, one of my sister's husbands, said he was just looking for a way to see my dad angry. He'd never seen my dad angry in all the time he knew my dad, and he had known my dad for close to 2 decades, before my dad passed on. He says, I've never seen this man angry. Well, I'm his son, obviously I have seen him angry, but he was hardly angry. He was hardly angry. So this is dedicated to my dad, Dr. SBS Afiesimama, and he held various positions in the health sector in Rivers State, Nigeria. And I'm going to read out some of them. This is a poster that was designed by his professional colleagues. And so as you can see here, he was a former principal, School of Health Technology in Port Harcourt, former medical officer of health, Port Harcourt City. Port Harcourt City is the capital of Rivers State. And Rivers State is in the south zone of Nigeria. Former Director of Medical Services, University of Port Harcourt. Former Head, Department of Preventive and Social Medicine, University of Port Harcourt. Former Head, Department of Community Medicine, University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, Port Harcourt. So that's a bit more about my dad. He was kind. He helped people. He actually set up a clinic right after the Biafran War in 1970. He named that clinic, I think, after his father. It was called Itelema Clinic, which happens to be my middle name as well. Obviously, I wasn't born then. But yeah, that my dad could not sustain the clinic because people couldn't pay for his services. So he couldn't run the clinic and had to shut the clinic down a few years later. So that was the kind of person he was. He would treat them, but he would pay for their treatment. And so didn't even have enough money to carry on running the clinic. He had to now go to work for the government. That's how he was able to carry on his medical, I won't say medical practice, it sounds as if it's his own private practice, but yeah, to carry on as a medical doctor. And then these glasses, I'll talk a bit about them as well. It reminds me of when, as little kids, he would take us to the club. There was a club called Port Harcourt Club, where we would go swimming and swinging on the swings, playing football, and he would hang out with us in the sun. Obviously, he needed his sunshades, which was quite fashionable at the time. I remember seeing it in one of these comedy programs on American TV several years ago. One of the actors, who I think is now late as well. No, he's not late. But anyway, one of the actors had these shades on that you attach to your glasses. And I saw them as really cool. And my dad was a cool dude who would take us to the club. Eventually, he would sneak into the snooker room. We'd play snooker, pools, billiards and pools and all that. We were not old enough to go into the room. At the time, we're all under 18. Obviously. And so memories of my dad, a cool dude. And then last but not least, a picture of those he left behind. So that's my mom in front, my 2 sisters, and then my 2 brothers. A bit about my mom. She is a linguist, a PhD, Dr. Afiesimama. And then my sister to the right of the screen, medical doctor. Sister to the left is an engineer. Her brother behind her used to be the 5th fastest hurdler in Africa. He studied economics at university here. He runs a few businesses now. My brother in the middle, engineer, builds refineries around the world. Currently working in Kuwait, just arrived in the UK a few hours ago to surprise his family, and just in time for our family get-together to celebrate my dad's posthumous 86th birthday. And then that's me at the right back of the picture. yeah, just me, Sodienye Afiesimama, making videos on YouTube, been involved in a lot of businesses. I've edited, I'm an artist, a graphic designer, I sing. Yeah, that's about it. I do all sorts, trying to better myself, trying to give back to the world. What else? What else about the situation at that building? It's my dad's building. It's called the Ark, and I remember a few days after he passed, someone brought up the phrase, must have been one of the kids, we joke in situations, sometimes very serious situations, we just crack jokes. We're a very chilled out family, and that showed today during our Zoom call. Everyone was so chilled, joking, laughing, talking about my dad. There were tears here and there, but overall, it was a magnificent experience. So the joke about the ark was that when my dad died, the phrase was Noah has finally left the ark. So on that note, sad but funny story, I'll end today in history. Thanks guys for hanging around, thanks for sticking by, thanks for watching my videos, and hopefully you will subscribe and also give me a thumbs up. If you subscribe, click the notification bell so that you receive updates of my video uploads. Thanks again guys, stay safe, and I shall see you tomorrow for another edition of Today in History. Bye bye.